And now moving on to our mega exclusive, this ground reportage that my colleague Anvit has done, this investigating report which shows multiple facets of a developing story. This report is about one of our border areas, especially Bihar. Illegal occupants have taken up hundreds of kilometers of land, which is designated as a no man's land. It isn't just that. Our investigative report also shows how people from the Muslim community are illegally crossing the border and add to the population. The demographics, of course, have been unduly affected. It has been documented. The numbers are on paper. It isn't just an issue of illegal border crossing, but for agency, a threat to national security as well. Before we dive deep into the story, I also have my colleague Anand Narasimhan with me in the studio, and he breaks down what this investigation really reveals and what this report is all about. And Anand, multiple facets to this investigation, not just the demographic change, the security threat, but a larger concern about the national security apparatus which Simanchal region is posing. And multiple districts, I believe, have been affected because of it.
Yes, and this is danger at our border. Let's put it, it's a mega CNN News 18 investigation, ladies and gentlemen. And it all started from the time when we got to know that there are schools which have altered their holidays. Because the local population, suddenly the demographic had changed to about 70%, and it was all happening in the Simanchal region, and it's been going quietly about. Then comes out a special report. Now, when we realized and Anvit went down on ground, this was a serious issue. When you have no man's land is no man's land. There is not supposed to be anybody, but look at these pictures. If you see these pictures, this is Nepal on one side and India on the other. So 1.5 kilometers on either side, there's supposed to be plain barren land. But we see hutments, tenements, even pakka houses which have been built. So this is the big danger at our border, where these are all illegals, ladies and gentlemen. These are all people who have started living here, and it's quite brazen. And this whole stretch is not 1 or 2 kilometers, it's hundreds of kilometers at our border. This is happening at the Bihar Nepal border. This is a stunning expose that we are putting out here, where there is rampant infiltration of illegal immigrants from Bangladesh, and they are coming through via Nepal, ladies and gentlemen. Illegal migrant camps are present across 7 districts. There is rampant infiltration of illegal migrants from Bangladesh via Nepal. And most importantly, these immigrants and these camps are across 7 districts of Simanchal in Bihar. 7 districts. Look at the number of people who have started making no man's land their home, and from there they are creeping into India. And just 100 meters from where they were, they have come in. There are pakka houses which are already made. How is no man's land between 2 nations being allowed for illegal settlements? These illegals have settled in no man's land near the Indo-Nepal border. And the immigrants are largely from Bangladesh, and they're also from the Rakhine state, Rohingyas, who have settled in these camps. These illegals possess fake IDs. They've been able to make documents. They are now setting schools, and also trying to pull local power and muscle, and trying to exert a certain level of influence on ground. They started with basic camps, kacha pakka, kind of a position with tents and tarpaulin and sheets. But now they have started building pakka homes slowly and gradually. These illegals are entering into existing family trees to blend into the population. So what they are doing is, they come from abroad, they come into India illegally, they encroach, and then they marry with the local Indian population living there. They marry into those families and then try to regularize themselves. This is rampant illegal infiltration that has fueled a demographic change in Simanchal. A lot of people are surprised. How did the numbers and demographically change so fast in Simanchal? There is a 250% rise in the Muslim population in Simanchal. So that is the biggest challenge that we are seeing in Simanchal. In over the last 50 years, there is illegal scrap trade that is operating in these clusters for decades. That is the biggest challenge. There is a lot of illegal operation, full of illegals, illegally encroached on land which does not belong to any nation, because it is no man's land. They have crept there, they have been allowed to settle, and then they are moving in. They are marrying into the locals, changing the demographics, and now also trying to start setting the rules. How is this being allowed? How is this possible? That's the shocking, most important aspect that we're coming in. So, Anusha, that's where it started. It started by saying, how is it that there are 500, 600, 700 schools in this region that have altered the status quo on their own because they are pulling muscle? How could a demographic change happen? And when we went on ground, we realized that they are settling in land which was not supposed to be occupied because it's no man's land.
That's a huge rise and a change in demographic that Anand is pointing out. We're getting a different